The laboratory smelled like anxiety and recycled air, which, according to Dr. Vex'thari's understanding of human behavior, was apparently normal. The Galactic Council had sent her here, to this backwater research station orbiting Mars, because someone had made what they called a discovery of cosmic significance. She'd heard that phrase before. Last time, it turned out to be fossilized space algae. Right this way, Doctor. The human scientist, a gangly fellow named Marcus Pemberton, practically bounced down the corridor. His enthusiasm was exhausting. Vex'thari's 4 eyes rolled independently. She'd been analyzing alien civilizations for 2 centuries, and humans had only joined the galactic community 15 years ago. What could they possibly have found that warranted her expertise? So, Marcus continued, waving his tablet around like a conductor leading an orchestra, we were doing routine geological surveys on Kepler 442b. You know, checking for mineral deposits, mapping tectonic activity, boring stuff really. Fascinating, Vex'thari said, her translator perfectly capturing her sarcasm. Marcus either didn't notice or didn't care. Then we hit this chamber. Sealed. Absolutely airtight. And inside? Organic material. DNA, to be specific. Now that got her attention. Her scales rippled with curiosity. The planet's been dead for 3 million years, Marcus said, his voice dropping to a theatrical whisper as they entered the main lab. No atmosphere. Nothing. But this DNA? It's only about 50,000 years old. The laboratory was chaos incarnated. Screens flickered with data streams. Machines hummed and beeped. Half a dozen researchers scurried around like caffeinated insects. And there, in the center of it all, suspended in a containment field, was a small vial of brown material. Dirt? Vex'thari asked flatly. Dirt with DNA. Marcus grinned like he'd just won the lottery. We've sequenced it. Triple-checked. Quadruple-checked. It's definitely organic, definitely ancient, and definitely not from any known species in the galactic database. Vex'thari approached the sample, her scientific instruments extending from her suit. And you called me here because? Because, a new voice interjected, we think it might be precursor DNA. Vex'thari spun around. A shorter human woman had entered, wearing a lab coat that had seen better days. Her name tag read Dr. Lisa Thornburg, the precursors. The ancient ones. The civilization that supposedly seeded the galaxy with life billions of years ago. Every species had myths about them. Most scientists considered them folklore. That's quite a claim, Vex'thari said carefully. Look at the sequence. Lisa pulled up a holographic display. The DNA strand rotated slowly, glowing blue against the dark lab. See these markers? This complexity? This isn't natural evolution. This is engineered. Vex'thari's hearts both skipped a beat. The structure was indeed unusual. Impossibly efficient. Almost like someone had taken biological code and optimized it. Run a comparative analysis, she ordered. Check it against every species in the Council database. Already did, Marcus said, pulling up another screen. No matches. Well, except, he trailed off, looking uncomfortable. Except what? Vex'thari demanded. There's a 99.7% match with one species. Which one? Marcus and Lisa exchanged glances. The kind of glance that meant bad news was coming. Humans, Lisa finally said, silence. Complete, absolute silence. Even the machines seemed to hold their breath. Vex'thari laughed. She couldn't help it. The sound came out as a series of clicking chirps. That's impossible. Humans evolved on Earth. You have a complete fossil record. You're not even that advanced yet, no offense. None taken, Marcus muttered. But here's the thing, Lisa continued, undeterred. This sample predates human civilization by 45,000 years. And it was found on a planet 300 light-years from Earth. Contamination, Vex'thari said immediately. Someone on your survey team sneezed on the sample. We thought of that. The chamber was sealed. Had been for millennia. We dated the seal itself using 6 different methods. All confirmed. This DNA was placed there intentionally, long before humans supposedly left Earth. Vex'thari's mind raced. This didn't make sense. None of it made sense. Either humans had somehow traveled to another planet tens of thousands of years ago, which was ridiculous, or someone had planted human DNA there, which was even more ridiculous, or, we need to call the council, she said. Already did, Marcus replied. They're sending a full investigation team. Should arrive in 3 days. 3 days, Vex'thari repeated. 3 days to figure out if everything they knew about human history was wrong. A door at the far end of the lab suddenly whooshed open. A maintenance worker shuffled in, wearing a stained jumpsuit and carrying a toolbox that had probably been old when Mars was first colonized. His name tag identified him as simply Dave. Hey folks, here to fix that air filter you logged a ticket about, Dave announced, completely oblivious to the tension in the room. Not now. Marcus practically shouted, but Dave was already wandering toward the containment unit, squinting at the floating vial. Whatcha got there? Looks important. Please don't touch anything, Lisa said through gritted teeth. We're in the middle of something. Dave leaned closer, his face nearly pressing against the containment field. His eyes went wide. Oh wow, is that from Kepler 442b? Everyone froze. How do you know where it's from? Vex'thari asked slowly, her translator giving her voice an edge sharp enough to cut steel. Dave shrugged. I worked on that survey mission. Helped install the drilling equipment. Beautiful planet. Well, you know, in a dead and lifeless sort of way. You were on Kepler 442b? Marcus's voice climbed an octave. Sure. 3-month stint. Boring as hell, honestly. Nothing but rocks and dust. Dave scratched his head. Wait, is that the sample from the sealed chamber? Yes, Vex'thari said, every one of her sensory organs now focused on this random human maintenance worker. Do you remember anything unusual about that site? Unusual? Nah, not really. Although. Dave's face scrunched up in thought. I did cut myself on one of the drill bits. Bled all over the place before we sealed up the site. My supervisor was furious. Made me fill out like 6 incident reports. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 20 degrees. You what? Lisa whispered. Cut myself. Right hand. Dave held up his palm, showing a faded scar. Stupid accident. Why? Marcus started laughing. Not a polite chuckle. A full, hysterical, doubled-over laugh that bordered on manic. Vex'thari felt something inside her break. She'd traveled across 3 star systems. She'd prepared reports for the council. She'd imagined rewriting the history of galactic civilization. And the answer was a clumsy maintenance worker with a boo-boo. Let me get this straight, Vex'thari said, her voice dangerously calm. The ancient, mysterious, possibly precursor DNA that we've been analyzing for 6 weeks, the sample that's caused an intergalactic incident and required my personal attention, is from you? Dave's eyes widened. Oh. Probably. I mean, if it's human DNA from that chamber, yeah. That's probably mine. Sorry. Vex'thari's voice could have flash-frozen hydrogen. You contaminated an archaeological site with your blood and didn't think to mention this? I filed the reports. Dave protested. It's not my fault nobody reads maintenance logs. Lisa was already typing frantically on her tablet. He's right. There's a contamination incident logged from the Kepler mission. Date matches perfectly. It was marked as resolved after standard decontamination protocols. Which clearly didn't work, Marcus added, still giggling. Vex'thari wanted to scream. She wanted to throw something. She wanted to go back to her homeworld and never, ever accept another assignment involving humans. Instead, she took a deep breath through her auxiliary spiracles and said, "The council representatives arrive in 3 days." "Yeah, about that," Dave said helpfully. "You might want to tell them to turn around. Save them the trip." "I'm going to have to file a report," Vex'thari continued, ignoring him, explaining that the greatest archaeological discovery in a century was actually caused by workplace negligence. "To be fair," Marcus offered, trying not to smile, "we did say it might be humans." "You said precursors." "We said it looked engineered. Turns out humans are just accidentally confusing." Lisa was fighting back laughter now too. Dave raised his hand like a schoolchild. "So, do I still need to fix that air filter, or?" Vex'thari looked at the vial, at the humans, at Dave with his innocent expression and his maintenance toolbox. Somewhere in the galaxy, ancient civilizations had risen and fallen. Mysteries remained unsolved. The universe was vast and full of wonders, and she was stuck here, dealing with this. "Fix the filter," she said wearily. "And for the love of all that's sacred in the cosmos, try not to bleed on anything else." As Dave cheerfully went about his work, humming an off-key tune, Vex'thari began composing her report. She could already imagine the council's reaction. The investigation teams being recalled. The embarrassment. The jokes that would follow her for decades. Humans had been in space for barely 15 years, and they'd already managed to accidentally convince the galaxy they were time travelers. "Hey Doc Vex?" Dave called from across the room. "What now?" "I also sneezed in the sample chamber on Europa last year. Should I mention that to someone?" Vex'thari's translator made a sound it had never made before. Something between a groan, a sigh, and the death rattle of her professional reputation. "Humans. Of course.